meeting, maybe in the morning, and continue with the shortlisting of candidates for the 25th. Or we must do it the Monday.
Yeah, in fact, you remember last time, Chair. In fact, there was even a confusion whereby we were awaiting the screening, and you must remove vetting. It's screening. Screening of applicants and verification of qualifications. I think you remember we waited that we must finish with we must receive the report, and after when we saw that the screening report is not coming forth, we then started to shortlist because we are running out of time. But as and when we're busy with that, we even allowed candidates, if a candidate was shortlisted and the screening report comes to us, having a negative report, and then those candidates, we even allowed candidates even ask about their past inside the interviews. So I agree with you. It must be on the 20, you say 24, Chair?
Yes, Chairperson, if we can move it to the Monday, 24th of May, and then we start with the short listing the Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock, and this will happen at Parliament.
Yes, yeah. Thank you, Honorable Masiko.
It's Member Niba, Chabaleng, and Member Letuli.
Oh, sorry, Chairpersons. Good day to all the members and all my colleagues. Chairperson, I would have liked to advise, once all the members have really given their input on this specific program of the 12 to 23 of April, if you would allow me, Chairperson. If there are any members who still have got an input, so that you give me last as my point of advice, if you allow it, Chair.
Okay. So let's move to Member Chabaleng, Member Letuli.
Thanks, Chairperson. I just wanted to check. I'm sorry I connected late because the reception was very poor, so the link I got lost. But I'm finally here. The publication of CVs. If we receive 10,000 CVs, you mean we're going to publish those 10,000 CVs? Or are we talking about the publicizing, let's say, the short list? I just want to check that.
Thank you, Member Chabaleng. Member Letuli.
Greetings and thanks, Chairperson. No, I'm covered. Mine was around the first one, the 12th of March. So I'm covered on it. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Ms. Neba.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, for the opportunity. Chairperson, I would like to advise with regard to the uploading of CVs on the parliamentary website. Having learned from the previous exercise, Chairperson, that activity depends on what the intention of the committee will be of advertising all CVs that would have been received. In this instance, maybe in our last, we received 700 odd CVs. We anticipate that we will receive maybe more this time around. Now, depending on what is the plan of the committee with regard to publishing all CVs on the parliamentary website, one would agree to say that yes, if the committee is planning to do X, Y, and Z, then the committee could then agree to to post all CVs or to publish all CVs as they would have been received. We would also keep a record of all CVs, as you would see on that same date, that CVs would at the same time be uploaded on Uvimba, which is an official parliamentary record, where we'll keep all information that would have been received without it being published. So I want to also agree with some of the members to say, we will rather stick to shortlist of to publishing of all shortlisted candidates rather than publishing all the CVs. But if the committee feels strongly about publishing all CVs, what is the plan of the committee with regard to that? Otherwise, CVs would be available on Uvimba for any member who would want to access those CVs. So my advice would be really against publishing such a big volume of CVs if there is no plan of what the committee intends to do with those CVs. But then my advice would be then rather publish all the shortlisted ones, because with the shortlisted ones, we'll publish the CV as it is. We will remove the personal details on it. With the shortlisted one wants to get any comments from the public on a particular candidate that would be interviewed, then that information will be useful information that could be used by the panel at the interview process, for an example. So, Chair, with that said, really publishing all CVs, if it does not serve a particular purpose, I would advise against it, but rather we focus on the shortlisted candidates that will be published only. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you for that advice. I think it is the view of the committee that we will publish the shortlisting CVs and that we will and that the staff will upload on the website all applicants, but they will remove the personal, very confidential information from that. I think that is the agreement in here, and thanks for the advice. Thank you.
Sorry, Chairperson, again.
Yes.
Sorry, Chair, for that. But the second one, Chairperson, is the meeting of the discussion on the criteria of the shortlisting criteria. That the committee is saying that it must be, it's going to be an open meeting, a closed meeting. I don't know whether that has been clarified now, whether it's going to be a closed or an open meeting.
No, we don't get a later meeting in.
Oh, Chair. Okay, fine.
Late as we move.
Okay, Chair.
Thank you very much for that.
Can you clarify your roundup, on your summing up of the publishing of CVs? What did you say?
I said it will only be, the view of the meeting is that it will only be the shortlisting candidates that will be published, but the staff will upload CVs as it come in, as it is on the program on Uvimba. But the publishing of CVs will only be the shortlisting candidates.
Is that the meeting? Remember, I put that proposal on as per our proposal yesterday to the meeting.
Yes.
And then Honorable Mpiti came with another motion that no, for transparency purposes, let's publish all the CVs on Uvimba. That's what he was saying. And then Honorable Nshabeleng is asking us on whether we are going to publish the shortlisted candidates' CVs only, or we are going to publish all the CVs. So before me and you, we round up a resolution. Maybe let's hear other members. What are they going to say? So that we don't close them out, because there's a motion by by Honorable MPT, who feels strong that we must publish all of them. Let's hear other members.
Chairperson, can I just ask the members if they already spoken to lower their hands, because I see hands that was up and I don't know if it's an old hand.
Okay.
Thank you. So I see Klangwini from the EFF, Member Gweba from the ANC, and Member Masiko. In that order, thank you.
Thanks very much, Chair. I think it was because of the previous incidents that were happening in terms of the selection of the board. I think we don't want to come back, and we all would agree that we don't want to come back the third round into this process, because this is now the second round and we haven't even have a board within this process. So in order to delay processes, I mean, it won't hurt to publish, or even in fact to put all of the people that have applied onto the VUMBA system, and then we put up the ones that were shortlisted wherever it needs to be published. I mean, that won't hurt, just in order to have a level of transparency, Chair, to out there to say the process is open, it's transparent, and we have nothing to hide. We have no hidden list that must come from somewhere. And it will also help us to move forward and put out all of these fears of or underlying issues that people are having as to how this NYDA board is being selected and so forth. So let's do processes to the T and as transparent as possible at our disposal, and as cost effective to our disposal as what we are having currently on hand. That will be my input, Chair, but let's not cut corners just for, or do things for the sake of to be done. Let's do it in a most transparent way, at the cost effective way, at what we are having currently available, and move forward so that we don't come back here a third round. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Member Gweba.
Thank you very much, Chair. One will wish to agree with the proposal that has been made by the Chair in the first round, and also what has been an advice from Ms. Giba, that Uvimba, it's a program of Parliament, and where all these CVs will be then uploaded. And I will then, Chair, propose that let's, publicize the shortlisted candidates. And if then there are issues in terms of the CVs, then we'll then go back to the program of Parliament, which is on the eve of Uvimba, so that we don't experience what we have experienced in the previous process, where CVs of some of the applicants were screen-wrapped and publicized on Facebook and Twitter. So I will then advise that let's follow what has been an advice from the Ms. Giba, and also what has been proposed by the Honorable Chair. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Ms. Gweba. Member Lutuli.
Thank you, Chairperson. Again, I don't think we have anything to lose if we put all the CVs. Gary is saying we are trying to be transparent and then we have nothing to hide. So even if we can put 10,000 CVs and then we shortlist only 20, it means the public will know that everything was transparent and then there was no hidden list as the honorable was saying. So I don't think it's cost effective to upload all the CVs. So I think we should just upload everything that will come to us and then we take it from there. Thank you.
Chair, can I come in?
Yes, Chairperson.
Yeah, Chair, I think let's close this matter by saying we are going to publicize all the CVs for transparency reasons, to avoid unnecessary allegations. Let's publicize them. Whether they are 20,000, let the people of South Africa see them, that they are 20,000, and it's fine, because it will cut all these other things of an unnecessary distrust from the public, that now, last time you publicize all of them, why this time? So let's publicize all of them.
Thank you. Let's conclude on this matter. Is there any other discussions on the proposed program, or can I call for?
Chairperson.
Yes.
Chabeleng here.
Can members please lower their hands if they finish speaking? This is very confusing. And then it will be Member Chabaleng and Member Baga.
Chairperson, the question of us as members of parliament, we have a particular responsibility of taking decisions. Whether those decisions are appealing to but I think we need to be able to follow some logic of sorts. You know, anyone who has dealt with advertisements before will know that there are people who will apply regardless of what the criteria says, you know. Does it mean all those also will have to be published, will have to be captured and published? If that is the case, then I rest my case. I don't agree with that, but if the majority wants it, then they can have it. But we have to take decisions and not just be dictated to by popular, you know, that's a very populist end. Somebody will say, I applied and my CV was not published, and they applied for something else that is not related to what is in the NDA, NYDA advert. Let's publish them and see what the public will say. They will tear us to pieces. But anyway, let's go.
Thank you. Thank you, Member Chabaleng. Member Baga, did you want to say something?
Yes, Chairperson, I hope that you are able to hear me.
We can hear you.
Yes, thank you. I wanted to check.
Ubani manje loyo? Kanti nimeme ihlobo ema-meetingini. Ubani loyo?
And he waited for me to speak and then came in.
Oh.
Yeah. No,
Thank you.
Chairperson, I wanted to check who has access to Uvimba. Is it only the members or anybody who has sent his CV will have access to Uvimba? I just want clarity on that one before I make my viewpoint on this thing.
Thank you, Member Baga. Can Member Baga be assisted?
Yes, I can assist, Chairperson.
Yes.
All members of the committee will have access to Uvimba, because once the CVs are uploaded, a certain link gets sent to each member of the committee so that that member can access that Uvimba. It's only the members of the committee that has access on Uvimba.
Thank you. Member Baga, you can continue.
Chair, I don't know. I wanted to come in, but I think that we are almost agreed on this thing to say that we will proceed to publicize everybody who has applied, irrespective of whether the person meets the actual requirements or not.
Yeah, you're correct. That's not
You're correct. You're correct, Member Baga.
Yeah, you're correct. Not our problem that a person understand at 3 will apply. Publisher yonke.
I think that in any organization, because my concern, we will upload everything that we got, irrespective of whether the person meets or does not meet the criteria. For me, it goes back to what Honorable Nchabeling just said, that some would say that, I don't know, I don't want to be rude in what I would say, but we are not people who apply their minds in what they are doing. Because, Chairperson, you see, there's one thing when you want to do the right thing and do the thing correctly, but it's something else when you want to be kind of move away from any remarks that people would make. Those are two separate things. Because what we would then do, we would open ourselves up to say, for people to say, these people cannot be trusted because they don't even know what they are doing. Now, I in my head, I have a view that says it's important for us to be as transparent as possible. But transparency does not mean that we must be people who seem not to be applying their minds in what they are doing. Because if we post 20,000 CVs, for an example, and out of those CVs, there's 10,000 who do not even meet half of the criteria, but we would have uploaded those and open ourselves up for people to question the process itself because everybody's uploaded. So I'm saying, Chairperson, I agree with Honorable Nchabeling, but you know, if we all feel that we must post everything that we get, let's do so. But I'm saying that if I feel that I've been hard done by not being shortlisted somehow, I would have an opportunity to say, why am I not there? Because I think I meet the criteria somehow. But I'm just worried of an open thing that we do to the point of the detriment of the institution that we're supposed to be representing. So I'm not saying anything, Chairperson. Hear me correctly, but I'm just saying that I'm just worried that it means that we are not sure of what we are doing to a point that it's so open that anyone can throw a stone if someone wants to, because then we'll listen to that and redo the process and so on and so on. That's the point that I'm trying to make, Chair. I'm not saying anything else. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Member Baga. I think there is now an agreement that we will publicize all CVs for reasons of transparency. I think whether we agree with it or not, Member Chabalim, let's agree that we will publish all CVs. Chairperson, I see hands, but I don't think we must entertain this discussion anymore. Member Chairperson.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. I think Honorable Masiko must come first,
Okay,
so that you can alleviate the fears or the concerns of Member Baga also, because it's important that we clarify ourselves first before we move forward. Honorable Masiko can come in.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Chair, I I would obviously take guidance from the leadership of this meeting, but I just wanted to raise it to the meeting chair that publication of CVs, yes, would be a nice to have, but we also would want to address issues as have been said of transparencies, but we also, Chair, are guided by the National Youth Development Act, which is Act 54, which in subsection in section 9, subsection 3A, which speaks to the issue of the appointment and conditions of service of the board. Subsection 3A says that a short list of candidates for appointment is published. That's what subsection 3A of the Act says in terms of the publication. But if the committee then says that members feel that we can then publish everything, for me, it's still not a problem. Thank you, Chairperson.
Yeah, thank you very much,
Chairperson, can I hand over to you to? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chair. Because you know, there's a difference between shortlisted candidates, where everybody, after publishing the names of the people that we have shortlisted, remember, honorable members, you were part of this process. After we have shortlisted candidates, we published all the names of the people that we have shortlisted. That's why everyone was checking now each and every candidate that we have shortlisted in terms of whether those people, they do meet the requirements as per the advert. Because we must not fall into a trap whereby we'll want to account for individuals who have applied even if they don't meet the criteria. The first publishing of the CVs, it's everyone who have applied. The people want to see that have we received their CVs. Even organizations wants to see whether there are people that those people that they have nominated have been captured in by us. So, and we're able even to cover ourselves that when a person says, I have submitted these documents, it was easy for us, honorable members, to go to Uvimba and look at what the person has submitted. And they were able to respond back to organizations and to individuals that according to what we have received. Remember, they register, each and our staff members, they register all CVs as they are. That in this CV, we have received, in this candidate, Ubabo Baka, we received his CV, we did not receive his certificates. So if a person, we disqualify a person and say this one did not submit our qualifications, but he adverted to submit a CV with qualifications or any other certificates that you have. It was easy for us because we have a record. So that's, and then everybody was criticized by social media according to what the person has submitted. We are not accountable for people, Babu Baka, who submit CVs as one would qualify. That's why we're able to even defend other candidates who didn't have degrees. That in terms of the act does not talk about qualifications or whatsoever. That's why even when we were criticized with our advert, we said it, that the act is silence. So let's do it the way we have done it last year, because Tina, we were able, you see, even the ones that we shortlisted, the last 7 that we recommended, none of the people were complaining about their qualifications, because when they looked at the qualifications, all those people were highly qualified. They were raising other things. So what we're saying, for transparency reasons, let's publish everything that we have received. Our staff members must register each and everything that they receive from candidates, because it makes life easy for us. We go to Uvimba and we check that Natasha and Tlangwini have submitted what. This thing of us maybe being afraid, which why was I not shortlisted? If we are coming with a number that we are shortlisting, we are going to shortlist 30 people, it's up to the committee to make its own discretion on how many people are we going to shortlist. There's no way that you'll shortlist 10,000 CVs. It has never happened even in any other workplace. That's why when you look at the legal opinions, we were covered with some of most of the things, except those ones that they raised, Zabo demographics, but we've covered ourselves. So it's not a train smash, honorable members. Let's publicize all the CVs as we are going to receive them. And the staff, remember, they write what they have received. If a person has submitted a lotto, it's not the problem of staff. It's a problem, yeah, organization, the individual that has applied who didn't read advert which 18. So Masnas gives the responsibility unnecessary. I think when coming to this one, we've closed this one, Honorable Chair. Let's move to the next item.
Thank you, Chairperson. Now we must first adopt the program. I need a mover for the adoption of the program. And the second, you can raise your hands, members. Member Masiko.
Thank you, Chairperson. I move for the adoption of the program with the amendments. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Member Tlangwini.
Chair, I move to second the adoption of the program.
Thanks a lot. We can move to the next item. I will hand over to the chairperson to handle the next item on the agenda. Thank you. Chair, are you there?
Oh, okay. I have received a message from Honorable Flongo right now, honorable members, and already there's a person called Tembinkosi Young. It's written like that, Tembinkosi Young Blood Josop. This person has already written, Parliament Committee on Youth is currently busy with the program on the appointment of the National Youth Development Agency Board. I can tell you that they are already clearing illegalities. It's up to you what you want to do with it. Now I'm tired of telling honorable people to act honorably through courts. I've already identified 2 errors that when litigate, you'll surely win.
Sure.
You see, that's why, honorable members, when we're dealing with this process, we must be very focused. We must avoid a situation whereby we'll make the public not to be confident on what we are doing. That's why we are suggesting that most of the meeting, it will be better if we go to Parliament when we're dealing with issues, when we're dealing with this process. you can't stop the public from saying whatever. But we must try our level best that we do things correctly as much as we can. I see Honorable Masiko. I don't know whether it was your end was up since, but we have closed that one. We're going to publicize all the CVs. And then let's go to the next item. Chiba.
Yes, Chair.
To the next item.
The next item is the consideration of the advertisement, Chairperson. I think that will be screened by the Secretariat. And then the legal advisors will then take us through Tembe and Njikela, between the two of them.
Mr. Njikela, may you please present the advert and tell us the legalities and whatever it's not according to the Act and the Constitution.
Thank you very much, Chair, and good evening to the members. We had a look at the advert that was circulated by the Secretariat. You will remember, Chair, there was one particular concern that had arisen during the last process, and it related to the issue of the age criterion. There was a specific applicant who complained that he was excluded from the process on the basis of his age. The committee had taken a decision that it will only shortlist people who are under the age of 35, in other words, people who fall within the definition of youth in terms of the Act. And we were debating as to whether we should not be including specifically in the advert a provision which deals with the issue of age. Having looked at the Act, Chairperson, specifically on the disqualifications that are set out in Section 10 of the Act, the committee will recall that the issue of age is not there. Although the Act in general, when you look at the preamble, it speaks to the issue of youth, participation of youth, development of youth, and building of capacity of the youth. But there is no specific disqualification of persons that are older than 35. And for that reason, Chair, in my discussions with Dr. Tembe, we agreed that maybe the best way to deal with the matter is to have a note in the advert itself where you specifically state that preference will be given to persons under the age of 35. In other words, in that way, you do not exclude anybody up front in line with the Act, but you make your intentions clear that because of the development and capacity building of the youth, you will give preference to those people who fall within the definition of youth. But nobody is excluded from applying, nobody is excluded from being considered, depending on what they are putting on the table. But there will be a specific preference. We see this kind of note in respect of persons with disabilities. We see it with respect of women. We see it in all respects where there is a requirement to uplift or empower a particular category of people, that there will always be that qualification, that preference will be given to persons with disabilities, or persons with disabilities are encouraged to apply. So we thought, instead of having an exclusion, which I think will invite a lot of challenges if you put it up front, more especially if it is not in the Act. So everybody qualifies to apply, but in terms of the criteria, the committee will be entitled to set a criteria that will eliminate people Now, if Chair, you recall, this is a specific issue that was raised with the senior counsel, Advocate Potgieter, when he advised the Office of the Speaker. And the conclusion that Advocate Potgieter, even in the last round, was that there was nothing irrational about the committee agreeing on a criteria of age. If you look at the bigger scheme of the act that is intended to empower youth. So even under the last round, the conclusion reached by senior counsel was that there was nothing wrong with that. But we're just thinking now, going forward, to eliminate further disputes around the issue, maybe we should craft it rather more carefully and make sure that everybody who meets the criteria set by the Act is allowed in. Then the committee, through its own determination, can eliminate candidates going forward once those CVs are in. So it is for that reason that we thought we need to put a note which speaks to the preference of persons under the age of 35. I don't know, Chair, if Dr. Tembe is online, if I'm leaving anything out in respect of the issue, but from my side, that was the only issue that we needed to deal with.
Thank you very much, Mr. Njigela. Dr. Tembe?
Thanks, Chair. I think I'm covered because we discussed the advert with Mr. Njigela. So hence, his input is a combined effort of ours. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tembe and Mr. Njigela. Honorable members, here's the advert as we crafted it, and maybe honorable members can also comment. Honorable members, yes, the advert, can I get comments? Yes, Honorable Mpiti, Nomvula, is your hand up?
No, Chairperson, sorry. My hand is not up.
Okay. Any other member? I just see Honorable Mpiti's hand. Any other member? Because I don't see your hands, honorable members. Honorable Mpiti?
Thank you very much, Chair. I hope I'm audible. We are trying to travel back from the Free State from oversight, so I hope I'm audible. But Chair, I just wanted to come through on the point of the advert and specifically to speak to the issue of requirements. And I do believe, Chair, as has been said, is that we need to be very specific around the requirements of the candidates that should be applying. And I know that there's already been inputs around the age that needs to be spoken about, but I think we need to really be specific in regards to the requirements of candidates who would appear or candidates who would submit their applications to serve on the board. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because previously in the previous advert, the requirements were not clear to candidates as to who should be applying, as to what type of criteria is going to be used to consider candidates, and as to what type of requirements are going to be looked at, particularly when candidates come to the interview. And I raise this because, Chair, we don't want at a later stage to be questioned about the criteria. And I'm not saying we must devolve the entire criteria, but I believe it's important for us to speak directly to the core issues of requirements and criteria in terms of what candidates are selected based on. because that will then help us to avoid any challenges and issues about disclosing issues of the criteria as to why this person has been appointed. Because if it's clear from the beginning, it helps us as a subcommittee to avoid matters around whether or not successful candidates have met the requisite criteria that is required as per advert. Because the advert right now has a fundamental importance in terms of acting for me as a core guidance to any and everybody who applies going forward, and to anybody who wants to challenge this process and say that this process is not correct. It is the advert that informs that. And so we must make sure that the advert is quite clear, particularly around the criteria, particularly around the sections that are mentioned in Section 9, subsection 4 of the NYDA Act, so that those are clear from the beginning to candidates when they do apply. So I just want to recommend through you, Chair, that we consider making sure that those particular recommendations on the criteria are made clear from the get-go, so that we are not challenged on issues around criteria that link back to the advert and open up ourselves for critique in that particular section. But in terms of that, Chair, I would then submit that we do.
If you can tell me, Honorable Pete,
Thank you, Chair.
No. Honorable Pete, what is it that must be clear in the requirements? Because the requirements are according to the Act. Anything outside the Act and the Constitution of this country, it can't be put here. That's why we can't be even specific about qualifications here. We are covering ourselves. What is it that you want us to put here?
Chairperson.
And advert, Honorable Mpiti, Mbulelo Paka.
Chairperson.
Chair, my hand is
promises.
Yes.
Please,
let me take your. I wanted Honorable Mpiti to tell us what is it that he wants us to put here, because now he's giving us a general statement. Members, when you say something, tell us. We must put 1, 2, 3, so that like that you'll be helping us. I now call upon the chair, Honorable Bacha, Honorable Masiko, Natasha, Honorable Natasha. It's only the 4 of you.
Chairperson.
Yes.
Thank you, Chairperson, and let me welcome the presentation and the advert by the legal team. Chairperson, I think I agree fully with this advert in front of us. I think anybody who will read this advert when it goes out will see under requirements that it must be a South African citizen and that you must comply with all the requirements prescribed by the National Youth Development Agency Act of 2008. Now, if I am a prospect candidate who wants to apply for this, I must then know when I see under requirements B that I must go and read the Act to familiarize myself with what criteria the subcommittee will use. So I don't find a problem with that. And then also at the end of the advert, when it comes to age, because the Act is clear the Act don't determine that people must be under a specific or must fall in a specific age group. But then at the end, there is a note in this advert who state clearly that preference will be given to persons under the age of 35 years. So I want to welcome this, Chair, and I also want to thank the legal team and our staff members, because all of us in this committee, I think except one member, was part of the previous process when we were dealing with the appointment of the NYDA board. And we all received in our committee and our subcommittee meeting a presentation by the legal team. And that's why I am very glad that we've got this product in front of us. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. IT is disorganizing me. It keeps taking me out and in. Where are the people that I have already called? Can you come in that order?
Yes, thank you, Chairperson. Chair, I'm not sure. You see, English is my third language, and so I would like that to be known up front. Look, Chairperson, I'm reading the 35-year-old kind of statement. Why is it? I just want to be educated on this one. Why can't it be that applicants must not be older than 35, and that's it? Because you see, when I read it with my own English, it says to me, there's a likelihood that you might be considered even though you are above 35. That's what it says to me. Because preference will be given to 35, but it does not disqualify you if you are above 35. That's what it says to me, not unless it's explained differently. Now, I'm saying, why can't we say applicants must not be older than 35, and that's it, and we close it? I just want to get that. Otherwise, I'm happy with the advert as is, Chairperson. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Babu Paka. The next honorable member, I think.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. I think, firstly, Chair, let me agree with you when you said that we craft the advert according or guided by the Act of the NYDA. Now, maybe in answering Honorable Baha, the challenge, Honorable Baha, that we would face is if we do put the specifics on whether or not we consider or not consider an individual applicant over the age of 35, is that the Act itself is not explicit around that. It doesn't guide us in relation to that one point. So for me, Chairperson, I think it is safe to say that as a committee, when crafting or when we sit in that meeting that deals with the shortlisting criteria, we are then able to insert such a clause and look into young people who will be able to serve in the board for and on behalf of other young people in South Africa. So I think that is the challenge that we are facing in relation to inserting that one clause, because we would also, at the end of the day, stand a chance of being challenged because it's not outlined in the Act of the NYDA. And Chair, I would like to move also forward and support your request for Honorable Mpiti to also give guidance in relation to the criteria over and above what appears in this advert that he would like to insert, especially, Chair, because we know that there is that one meeting that we have discussed, that we've moved from the 12th of March, that will be discussing the shortlisting criteria. So how then do we insert a criteria that we've not discussed and agreed on in an advert that is supposed to be issued out in the next couple of days? Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Masiko. Honorable Natasha.
Thanks very much, Chair, and thank you for the advert presentation. Chair, I think the Act is quite clear on the requirements of what needs to happen and who gets to apply to sit on the board of the NYDA. I think every member that will want to apply will go and see and go and read what they are applying for. Though there's no harm in putting as the requirement on the advert, like any other job application. However, like we want also to have people of interest to see what do they really take interest and to go and read what they're applying for. So we can't be also at the stage where you are spoon feeding people everything.
No.
Word by word. If you have interest, you will take interest to go and read what you're applying for. So the Act is quite clear who gets to apply, who gets to qualify, and who don't. And I think the advert in its current form, it's well, it can proceed as such. Then in terms of the age issue, the Act also, it's also silent in terms of the age, but we know, and as members, what is the age, who gets to qualify in the bracket of youth, where does the age cut off in terms of youth. You know, it won't serve us to have a member that is 70-year-old, a 70-year-old to apply to be on a board of the NYDA. We can make that conclusion as members in a closed-up session and say, look, this person perhaps that is 70 years old, yes, they have applied, they have all of the experience and all of that, but we don't think in terms of age, it will be worth our while to have a person of this nature on the board. We can make that decision as the members of the committee and so forth. But we know what is the legal requirement in terms of South Africans and African to what is the requirement into what is the youth, who qualifies to be a youth, who qualifies to be whoever we want to put it. But I think, Chair, as the advert is, let's just put it through and let the process start. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Is there any other hands? Before I go back to Honorable Mpiti to tell us what is it that you wanted us to insert in terms of the requirements? There's no other hand. Honorable Mpiti. Honorable Mpiti.
Hi, Chair. Thank you so much. My apologies for disconnecting earlier. My battery died. Chair, so just to answer you, I think in terms of what has been put and what has been said by other honourable members in terms of the advert seems sufficient. I just wanted to just be clear in regards to what I was saying. It was related to Section 9, subsection 4, and that's what I was trying to raise. And not to say that it needs to be repeated on the advert verbatim, but to say that there needs to be a sense that captures that particular aspect. So that was the point I was trying to raise, not to say that we must regurgitate what is in the act, in the advert, but just to say that we must, in as best as we can, to summarize that section so that it's quite clear what is being required. But in terms of what is appearing on the screen and what has been discussed, I'm in agreement. Thank you very much, Chair.
Yeah. Mr. Njikelane? And Dr. Tembe, can you respond if there's anything that you want to talk to in relation to what members have already alluded to?
Chair, I think Honorable Masiko covered me in respect of the question that Honorable Bacha had asked. I don't think I have anything to add to that.
Okay. Doctor, thank you very much, Mr. Njikela. Dr. Tembe?
Thanks, Chair. I think concerning the advert, I think all well is said, because if you can look in terms of that section 10, it's almost similar to what is contained in the Companies Act, which is section 69(8)(f) of the Companies Act. So these members are going to sit on a board. Those are the qualifications of a director. So I think we must separate the shortlisting criteria and the advert. On the advert, it's where you specify what you want in terms of requirement. Then for the shortlisting, it's another. So because if you can look especially in terms of section 9.4, the demographics and the geographical spread, that is what is contained in the act. So those are the probably the attributes that the committee needs to look into when shortlisting, but that is not contained in the act. So let's separate these two phases, the advert and the shortlisting criteria. That is all what I can say, Chair. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much, honorable members. Thank you very much, Dr. Tembe and Mr. Njikela. It's good that we'll be having both legal people in our committee, so that whatever we are doing, we must know exactly are we still in line, so that we cannot do things that are not legal or unlawful. Chair, is your hand up with Masiko and Natasha, or whether your hands were up that time, you forget to lower your hands? Okay. Can I think you are done with this item? Can we get a mover for the adoption of the advert? Yeah, here at the bottom, we have already covered our ourselves. We said note preference will be given to persons under the age of 35. Why what? City under or city 35 downwards? Because if we city under, that means umuntu na 35 asimthatha. But it's preference, ne? So a preference, it doesn't mean umuntu na 35 ayikumthatha. Angithi Herman. Before ngithi si adopt isho njalo ngithi.
Yes, preferable because the NYDA Act defines youth, which is 14 to 35. Then, because the NYDA Act is part of the affirmative action, hence, then there'll be preference. So that is in that context that you are saying preference will be given to persons under the age of 35, because the spirit and tenor of the NYDA Act is part of the affirmative action, and in its preamble, the NYDA Act says the spirit and the spirit and form of the NYDA Act must resonate through the agency. So it's in that spirit. So preference will be given. So as when comparing at the end, which is for the final product, so preference will be given, but it doesn't exclude these other people above the age of 35, which is above the youth category in terms of government policy and etc. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much. Yeah, can I get a mover for the adoption of the advert? Izandla zenza jobela nje. Sengidinga zona phela izandla manje. Masiko?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I move for the adoption of the advert. Thank you.
Can I get a seconder for the adoption?
Honorable Chair.
Yes.
I second the adoption of the agenda of the advert.
Okay, thank you very much, Honorable Malika. Yeah, it's Malika. Thank you very much, Honorable Malika. The advert has been adopted by the meeting. What is the next item? The next meeting will sit when? Nomvula. Marcel, Deliswa, when is the next meeting? There's no meeting on the 12th.
Yes, Chair.
According to the Adopt Program Chairperson, it's the meeting that will sit in Parliament for 5 days, the 15th to the 19th of March.
No. No, Chairperson, can I assist?
Or is that out?
Can I just assist? For 15th till the 19th of March, Chairperson, that is an administrative activity that will be taking place. Preparation of the advert, which means we will be preparing the advert, asking for the necessary approvals so that the advert goes out in the week of the 20th of March. But the next meeting of the committee is as per the amended program that was adopted, which is Monday, 24 of May, where the committee will be discussing the selection criteria.
24 May.
In May.
24 May, yes, Chair.
Okay, so that means all other processes will be happening.
Yes.
Advert will go out. The newspapers.
Are you asking, Chair?
That's where you made a mistake. We're supposed to talk about how are we going to send out our advert, whether we're going to use print media, we're going to use what, I think it's something, but that can be managed or by administration. Are you comfortable with it, honorable members? Honorable members, can we allow our staff members to take care of the advert on how do they publicize it? All what we want to see is that the advert also, it must go to local newspapers. Namvula, can you talk to them? Yebo.
I remember that the last time we had even requested for it to be accessible through the notice boards of the NYDA offices, because we understand that it's not all young people who have access to the internet as well as the newspapers. Sometimes you'd find that it gets published on Sunday newspapers, which is quite expensive. So we had requested the last time that we work with the NYDA to ensure that these adverts are also posted in the notice boards of the NYDA offices. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. You remember, Nomvula, last time how we did it?
Yes, Chair.
You must
Yes, Chairperson, we are going to follow.
For ama-languages zonke ungayenzi lento yokuthi repeat iphepha le-Afrikaans kayi-2, 1 Sizulu or English or Sevenda of what, but make sure that you cover our vernacular languages also.
Yes, Chairperson, we are definitely going to follow exactly as we have done before. Make sure that all the official languages are covered, as well as trying to get the newspaper advert across, which is up to the local level. What we normally do is we choose about 1 or 2 national newspapers, and the rest will be regional / local newspapers. We also having radio adverts, Chairperson, as well. So that is the extent to which we advertise this the vacancies broadly, Chair. And also we also noting the request to advertise at NYDA for notice boards. We are going to do that, Chairperson. Thanks.
Okay. No, thank you very much, honorable members. I think we have come to the end of our meeting, if I'm not mistaken. Is there anything left? Neliswa and Marcel? Marcel and Neliswa, now we are quiet. I'm asking, is there anything left?
Chairperson, that is the end of our agenda items. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, honorable members. Our meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Chair.
Masiko, your hand is up. What do you want
So,
to say now? We are done. Drop your hand.
Osihlalo basiphathele kahle umhlangano. Siyabonga bosihlalo bethu.
Mina ngicabangela
Chitha ixesha nidlala ngexesha nina qha but it's fine. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, bye.
Sibakhuluma ngathi bazisuka nje ebhandeni.
Wenzani, Chair?
Yeah?
Uthi bakhuluma ngathi?
Zisuka nje ebhandeni. Azi ngoba abababoni yini abantu amaloya esinawo la phakathi.
Hayi abawaboni. Bayawadelela.
Yes.
Okay, Chair.
The Chairperson, the staff is still meeting after this. Hi, colleagues. Masa, Neliswa. I don't know who's streamer parliament, who's SP.
I think that might be the Facebook or the YouTube streamers.
Oh, okay, they can just, because it's just a staff meeting, it's okay. Bye-bye, streamer.
No, but I'm just trying to get that document for me. Just give me a second.
Okay, I don't know, colleagues, it's 1942. I'm also being very sensitive to the times because we're running families. Ne? I did not realize that this meeting will take such a long time. What is your take? Do we proceed or we can just maybe tomorrow, just briefly, not to, yeah, tomorrow, identify a time when we are going to quickly just discuss this proposal. I mean, it's supper time now. We have our children's homeworks that we need to look at. I thought maybe we will finish by 7 o'clock. It's almost 7:45 now. So what do you think, colleagues?
Mvula, thank you. I'd appreciate it. I've got a 2-year-old that I need to see.
Yes. I'm thinking about that now. Can we just say to the colleagues then, colleagues, can we then suggest a time tomorrow? Even if it's what is tomorrow? It's Wednesday, right? Oh, there are committee meetings. What is the perfect time that we can just have less than an hour to table the work plan so that we can agree on it? What do you think, colleagues? Who's got the meetings tomorrow?
Hi, I'm Mvula, it's Tasneem. Just to let you know that Kaluli and I are going to be in NIH meeting from 11:30 to about 1:30. So if we are going to schedule something that time, we won't be available for that time slot. Just letting you know about that.
Can you try 9 o'clock? Who's got a meeting tomorrow? If you can try 9, Berenice.
I'm fine with that. I don't know what other colleagues think.
I'm fine with 9 as well.
Everybody, Marcel, maybe so you don't have meetings in the morning?
No, I don't have a meeting tomorrow.
Okay, Advocate Dr. Tembe.
Meeting, Mvula.
Eh?
No, I'm free. I don't have a meeting tomorrow.
Okay, can we try? Can one of you then send us the meeting link, Marcel, for this meeting tomorrow? Then we can just fly over the work plan. I'm sure it's going to be for about 30 minutes. It shouldn't take us very long. And then you send it to everyone, including CAs, including everyone that is affected by the work plan, including Wioliswa as well. Can we agree like that, colleagues? Let's have supper, guys.
Yeah, Aish, and I'm tired.
Please, man, Berenice, sorry for that. I've invited you special for this, but now I think it's a time factor.
No, that's fine. I understand completely.
Colleagues, let's go do our children's homework. I'm sorry. Till tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock, ne? So Marcel will send the link tonight still. Thank you very much.
Well,
thank you very much. 9 o'clock, Marcel.
Thank you, Mvula. Good night, everyone.
Good night, guys. Good night. I don't want to keep you here for long. Thank you.